Nearer to history, because it was back in the days when for every £3 worth of tea brought into Britain, the government charged £7 in tax on top. It's not surprising that in years gone by that smuggling was rife, and smugglers were pretty popular amongst most people. There are, of course, many tales of smuggling along the south coast, but perhaps this is one you might not have heard about.
It involves a notorious gang, the members of which all met a very grisly end in Chichester.
Their demise followed an audacious raid on a customs house, hoodwinking the Royal Navy, and a brutal murder. Sean Killick takes up the story.
It's a housing estate now, but 250 years ago it was a field where smugglers from a notorious gang were hanged. For centuries this stone has been Chichester's only acknowledgement of their murky tale, until now. At the city's Novium Museum, the story of the Hawkhurst Gang is now being told, with their weapons on show and a specially commissioned film telling of their reign along the south coast through Sussex, Hampshire and Dorset, and of the gang's fateful raid on the customs house at Poole Harbour to steal back valuable illicitly imported tea which had been seized from them.
In the dead of night, around 30 smugglers crept up to the customs house, only to discover that the Navy had stationed a huge ship in the harbour, with his gun pointing at the customs house to shoot anyone approaching. The smugglers were savvy though, and waited for the tide to go out. This lowered the ship in the water, until eventually its guns were unable to reach the customs house. With the threat gone, the smugglers managed to reclaim all 2 tons of tea and rowed away into the night. The customs officers were furious and offered a huge sum of money for anyone who could locate the smugglers.
The smugglers were informed on by a young shoemaker named Daniel Chater. He and a customs officer, William Galley, were en route to Chichester to give evidence when they stopped for refreshments at a pub in Rowland's Castle.
But such was the smugglers' reach. The landlady of the pub just so happened to be the mother of one of the gang. She sent word out to the gang to come quickly, and then plied Chater and Galley with beer until they got so drunk they had to stay the night. This is where the story turns nasty.
Contemporary drawings at the exhibition show how the informant and customs officer were captured by the gang and whipped. Then one was thrown down a well, the other buried alive. It led to a turn in the tide of public opinion, which had originally welcomed smugglers for helping avoid hefty import taxes. Eventually, 7 of them were tried at the court in Chichester. The new exhibition is accompanied by a play about the Hawkhurst Gang from local writer Greg Moss.
The brutality of the repression of the smugglers, with hanging them until dead, and then hanging their corpses in chains on the roads about the city as an example to others, along with the indemnity for informers and the ability to pocket a reward for shopping your fellow smuggler. Those 2 things together eventually, over time, destroyed the mafia-like hold that the smugglers had.
Poignantly also displayed at the Cutlasses and Contraband exhibition, part of a Chichester jail door, carved with graffiti by the imprisoned smugglers, their names, initials and their ship, a ghostly reminder sailing on through the centuries. Sean Killick, BBC South Today, Chichester.
What a fascinating story, wasn't it?